Welcome to another episode. Today's question is, what will you choose between an uncertain future or a definite future with a better end? I'll repeat the question. What will you choose between an uncertain future or a definite future with a better end? So the questioner asks whether you will choose a certain future or uncertain future. And the definite future or a certain future is with a better end. That is his assumption. So, but future is always uncertain. There is no certainty about future. There are so many factors which play in. So, future cannot be certain. Moreover, it is merely a projection of your past and a little of present. So, there is no certain future. It is a projection of the thought. And most of the future is merely a wish, your desire. So first we will see Krishnamurti's talks from Ujjayi. Some old people who look into their youth are like some other people who look to the future, to the next life, to the greatness they are going to achieve next time, tomorrow, or 100 years hence. Because people never live in the present. They always look at the past, how happy it has been if you are old, or at the future if you are young. So you assume what you are going to achieve in next 10 years or 50 years, how great you will be. Or if you are in the middle age or a little bit old age, then you think about what you are going to achieve in next life. So these are the projections. That is there, those who sacrifice the present to the past, enriching to the past, and those who enrich the future. They are both the same. Different sets of words are employed, but the same phenomenon is there. For them, the present is a full bore, a trial. Therefore, let us think of the past. The present is irksome, nagging, bothersome. Therefore, let us at least be something in the future, a Buddha, a Christ, or God knows what. Since you don't like the present, you don't live in the present, you want to escape from there. So you project into the future or go into the past. Into the future, you think you can become somebody great, wealthy, rich man, a man of position. Or if you are inclined towards spirituality, you think you can become a Buddha or a Christ, God knows what. So that is normal human tendency. What we have is present, but we don't live in the present. We are unable to tackle the present, understand the present. So the past and future become useful and escape, pleasurable. Only when we do not understand the present. That is, past and future are useful only when we don't understand the present. You are really never meeting the present. You are merely overshadowing the present by the past or future. So this is from J.Krishnamurti. This has clearly explained what happens to us. We don't live in the present, but either go into the past glories, which actually may not be a glory but merely a projection, or to the future expectations, projections, where we will become great, a great man, a rich man, powerful man, or a great messenger of God, whatever. So next we will see Krishna, the man and his philosophy by Osho. To understand this thing rightly, it is first necessary to know that there are two kinds of action in our life. One is what we do today in order to achieve something tomorrow as a result. We do something today to achieve a result tomorrow. Such an action is future oriented. Future is leading you into action. Just as an animal is dragged by a rope tied to its neck, so the future is dragging us into action. I do something with an eye on the future, when my action today will yield some result tomorrow for me. While action takes place in the present, its fruit lies in the future, and the future is unknown and uncertain. So we are doing something today so that we expect a result tomorrow. This is good enough for physical things, like you get education, you educate yourself today, you learn something today, and you reap the benefits tomorrow. You get a college degree, or you get a job, or you learn some skill. So that is there. You do some work today, then you get a benefit tomorrow. You can plan for it. So we are not talking about that. It is about the psychological things. Future means that which is not in existence, which is only a hope, a dream, an expectation. In that hope, we are being dragged like a cattle by our future. In Sanskrit word, the animal is pashu, which is meaningful. Pashu is derived from pash, which means bondage. Hence, pashu is one who is captive, a slave. In that sense, we are all animals because we are captives for the future. We live in future hopes. He again expands into his Rajni Osho, expand his say that we are like a cow who is dragged by a rope, and the rope is the future which drags us like an animal. We expect something. To get that result, we are dragged down by the future. Man always lives today in the hope of tomorrow, and in tomorrow the hope of the day after, because when tomorrow comes it will be as of today. He never lives really. He goes on postponing life for the future, and he will never live as long as he lives on hope of the future. His whole life will pass away, unlived and unfulfilled. At the time of his death, he will say with great remorse, all my life I only desired to live, but I could not really live. So if you don't live today and you are saying tomorrow I will get this benefit, I will live tomorrow, that tomorrow will never come. So in the end you will say, I have never really lived. I wanted to live, but I have never really lived. And this is the greatest sorrow a man encounters at the time of his death, when the future is no more. There is no hope of achieving a result in the future. If there was a future and a hope beyond death, he would have no regrets. That is why a dying man wants to know if there is life after death. Exactly. That's why, a man wants to know, is there a life after death? Because he will do all the work today, this life, and then enjoy tomorrow, that is next life. So he hopes his next life will be better. In reality, he wants to know if there is any chance of reaping a harvest of hopes in the future, because it is only hopes that he had sown in the soil of his life. He had wasted all his todays in the hope of a tomorrow that never came. And on the last day of his life, he faces a cul-de-sac beyond which there is no tomorrow and no hope of any fruits of action. That is the despair of future-oriented life. So when you are future-oriented at the time of death, at the time of old age, you see a great wall in front of you. You can't move further. There is no hope of tomorrow. So you seek something beyond the wall. That is next life. You expect you can reap all the benefits in the next life. You have not got anything. You have worked so hard, waiting for some result. That never happened. You never enjoyed your life. So you think you will reap all the benefits, the harvest, in the next life. There is another kind of action which is not future oriented, which is not done with the motive of some future result, which is not based on any ideas and patterns. Such an action is natural and spontaneous. It arises from the depth of our being. It springs from what I am, not from what you become. So that is another set of action which is there, which is not based on future, which is spontaneous. The future is about becoming. You become somebody, you become something. That is future oriented. But this is not what is becoming, how you are becoming something. But it is being present, being yourself. That is another kind of living. You are passing down a street. When you come across an umbrella dropped down by somebody unaware, you pick that umbrella and hand it over to him without any expectation, without any fuss, without any expectation of thank you from him. That is a selfless service. But if you are waiting for somebody around to appreciate you or expect the man to say thank you, then you are hoping for a result, hoping for a future. If you are doing without expectation, then that is natural, that is spontaneous act. But if you are hurt that nobody is appreciating you, the man who dropped the umbrella, he is not appreciating you, and you are hurt, then you are expecting a result. That is not spontaneous, that is with a motive. So these are the two different way of living. The purity of action and action with expectation of result, which is contaminated with the desire for result. So future, going back to the questioner who asked whether the future is certain, what do you want, a certain future or uncertain future? No, I don't project into the future. You don't project into the future. Future is always uncertain. It is merely a projection of past or present. What you have got as present, live the present. And this we are telling again for psychological things. Physical things, of course, you have to plan and act, learn the skills, make a saving so that you have something left for an uncertain future. But future is always uncertain. Even that physical things you will have to work today. You can plan for tomorrow, but you have to work today. If you sit idle and expect things to change tomorrow, that is not going to happen. Even there, present is important. So with this, we will end this episode. Stay with me for another episode. Subscribe to my channel. Share this video. Thank you.